previously we had gone through and been drawing stuff on screen, but there could be kind of tedious, right? Um, and as I hinted at in a previous video, one of the things that we're striving to do is to become lazier programmers, to write less code, to be more efficient with the code. So to that end, I want to introduce you to loops. We're already kind of familiar with one called in the draw loop, right? But there's some that you can use to control things inside of your program. So I'm going to start out with this thing called a while loop. And a while loop is, I don't use it as frequently as, some people. I actually wind up using for loops, which will be addressed in the next video. But for completion's sake, it's good to be aware of. So I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to make this global. The way that while loops work is they will execute something as long as a condition, while it's waiting to meet a condition, right? And so you need to have an external thing to check this. And I'll show you what happens when you don't have that as well as when you do. So this is going to be really fun. So we'll call this we, and we'll set we to 0. I'm going to just do all of my drawing in the setup. I'm just going to do this all once, right? Really what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a whole, like, let's say, we've drawn like a circle on screen, right? We had it bouncing around previously. But let's say we wanted to get like a bunch of circles and we wanted them all to have slightly different color or opacity, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a quick sketch here that will make, 50 circles on screen real quick. And as opposed to like writing out 50 lines of code and picking it all and blah, blah, blah. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this while loop to do all the work for me. So we've got our background here. It's black. We've got no loop inside of our draw, so it's just going to execute once, right? The way that a while loop works is we say while, not whole, while, and then structurally it looks like this, right? So we've got a while, and then the condition that we're checking goes inside of these parentheses, and then the code that we want to execute is inside of these curly brackets. So for us, we want to draw 50 circles, right? So we're going to say while we is less than 50, and then it'll execute whatever code we put inside of here, right? So let's make this fill. We'll just do 255. We'll just draw them all as white circles to start. And so then I'm going to say ellipse, ellipse, there we go. And then we'll say random width, so we'll have them drawn in random locations, random height. All right, but we'll make them all uniform in size. So what we've got here is some code that says, while we is less than 50, here's the fill color, and then draw an ellipse randomly somewhere on here. And it says we're going to do it now. In this code as it stands right now, there's nowhere where we're incrementing this we variable. So we're always going to be less than 50. And if I tried to execute this and run it, you can see right here, it opens up the browser and nothing happens. In fact, I even titled this page "While Loops Are Danger." And that's because if you don't remember to put something inside of your while loop that's going to work towards meeting this condition right here, you'll never get there, right? So what we want to do is we want to increment our variable we inside of the while loop. So we can say we plus plus. So now what happens is every time, and I need to close this because it's completely tied up the processor. So now what's happening is we say while we is less than 50, then set the fill color, draw a circle, and then increment we by 1, and then do this again. And keep on doing this until we is greater than 50. So now if we run this, we should get a whole bunch of circles, right? So now we've got 50 circles with only like a couple lines of code, which is really exciting. We can do other things inside of here too, right? So if we wanted to change the opacity on these things, and we haven't really talked about opacity yet, but it's, you know, like an alpha channel. So it could either be the 4th argument in a color, or it could be the 2nd argument. So in this case, we're saying each one of these circles now has a little bit more, still white, but then there's opacity, right? So now we can see that some of these are translucent, others are not. We could do something where we change the size of each of these based off of this also. So we could say we times 3, right? And so now we get some sort of like optical effect a little bit, where things that are closer are brighter and bigger, and things that are further away are dimmer. But this is while loops, right? You need to have an external thing that you're checking, and you need to make sure that you've got a condition that will be met eventually. Otherwise, your program will hang up and it'll never finish executing. So this is a while loop. I'm going to introduce for loops in our next video.